Hello and welcome. This is Super Evolution. We see G telling the others that Ming He is better than most of the students they currently have, and they should consider accepting him. She tells them that they should be able to have a few spots for talent and not just for people who donated money. Yan then says that excelling in the basic rounds doesn't really mean much. She agrees with Yan and says that special admissions need to be extremely strict. I like how they say it needs to be strict but are letting people pass by just donating money, so it's not really making it strict for them, it's making it strict for the people that didn't donate money. Yan seems like he really hates Ming He. We get some dialogue about how there's a donation spot and there should be a society spot too. One of the kids of the professors ended up missing both enrollment chances, and he's exceptionally talented. A person gave money to the teacher and also gave money to the school. Yan thinks that he has to kick out Ming He while saying out loud that they need to be more strict with the admissions. We switch over to the test area and we see a tree with a face on it. G tells everyone that the test will be reaction time. She explains the type of tree it is and calls it a demon tree. She says that they won't lose their life, but they could definitely get hurt. We then see She going up to the tree to give it fresh blood since it will become alive once it consumes it. The tree will start to attack anything in its area once it's alive. So he gives it some blood and they will start to call out names, so they will need to step inside the yellow zone. The first person gets called and the tree starts to attack the person. The guy thinks that the tree isn't that fast and dodges it. 5 minutes have passed and G tells the person that he has passed the round. The guy thinks to himself that he has an instant pass ability, which he isn't wrong since he donated a lot of money, so let's be for real. We see all the people passing and the next one up was Ming He. He thinks that they can't make it any more obvious. Yan then hints over to She, so he ended up slicing his hand. He then says that the more blood the demon tree gets, the more stronger it will become, and tells Ming He to enjoy the good beating. We then see the tree trying to slap Ming He, but he dodges it and says that he knew it. Ming He keeps dodging and says that even bullets can't hit him. He has the passive ability, which is luck, and continues to keep dodging every whip-like attack. The teacher and professors see that the tree still can't hit Ming He. Yan asked if She went easy on him. So he tells Yan that he will increase the difficulty and is going to go all out. He then double slices his hand and puts it up to the tree. The tree starts to become more stronger and aggressive. Ming He thinks that this is an opportunity to practice his hearing and then closes his eyes. Ming He continues to dodge everything, but this time he has his eyes closed. We see everyone shocked while Yan is getting more frustrated. One of the examinees asked how come the attacks are landing beside him. Yan snaps at the kid and asked him if he wanted to try it himself. The kid grabs onto someone else while saying that he is joking. Ming He is still going at it and then activates his secret art called the rapid sidestep. 5 minutes later, we see some kids looking at how Ming He dodged everything and thinks that he is terrifying and also asked if he was even human. We then see the tree look with sadness while Ming He calling his test a training session, and the tree was very efficient. We see the professor on the ground while the teacher says that he has fainted and Ming He has passed the round. G then tells Yan that Ming He surpassed most of the students at the institute and he also excelled in all the rounds so far. She thinks Ming He is the rare type of student, so they should just accept him already. Yan gets angry and snaps at her, saying that most of the students do well but didn't do good in actual combat, and since this is a special admission, they need to consider all the aspects. He says that they can't go easy on him since nowadays most students are spoiled and lack judgment, strategy, and battle experience, and an actual battle will be the best. They head off and we go into the infirmary. Some person is talking and She tells them that he was proctoring the special admission exam and he was feeding the demon tree but ended up losing too much blood. The person talking to She tells him to listen to his brother's advice, and if he wants to live through this, he will need some green above his head. She asks the person not to bring it up again. The person says fine and not to do something stupid like that again. She said that he didn't and then just stops talking. We see the teachers, professors, and examinees walking into a room with a Tesla-type machine. Yan tells everyone that the last test will be easy since it's only testing their superpower talent. He says that according to the information he has on Ming He, he has a white dust talent. Ming He questions the teacher on the order of the test and asks if the other tests are pointless if they don't pass this one. Yan tells Ming He that rules are rules, and Ming He gets smart and says that he forgot that Yan is the rules. Yan then gets mad at Ming He, but then he asks if he was first again this time. He tells Ming He that he will be the last one, and then he says that it doesn't really matter who actually goes first. He asks Ji to record the results, which she then agrees. Young then said that he will go first. He puts his hand on the orb and he ends up getting a violet soul tear. Ming He then congratulated Young, but also didn't expect him to get a violet soul tear talent. We then see many other people getting a violet soul tear talent. Ming He questions if they all have violet soul tear talents. Yan then talks to Ming He and he says that he looked through his information and found out that he took the Nandu Institute exam. The scores was great, but in the talent test he got a white dust tier talent. He says that his powers was hidden, so it had no combat value. He asks what the teacher's trying to say. He replies to Ming He and says that the stuff he learned is all high school level and he is missing something important that he hasn't learned yet. He says that he will learn it first thing in his class. He tells Ming He that superpowers are changeable and there is a material called a life bead which can be attained through a special calamity beast. The life bead can be used to change the user's current power and change it into a new one. He says that all the tiers could be changed later in time, and also as long as you have the money, you could make your superpower tier more higher. He asks Ming He if he understands why all the applicants have violet soul tier talents. Ming He is in shock because he didn't know superpowers was changeable. I mean shit, let's be honest, we know that now, but like he had a goddess in his body, so we kinda knew something like that was maybe possible? I don't know. Yan calls Ming He an excellent student and surpasses the first 3 tests, but asks him if he could surpass his current test. He tells Ming He that the minimum standard for passing this test is a violet soul rank. He then compliments Ming He, calling him strong, fast, and even has quick reflexes. Yan asked if Ming He knew how much power an ultimate soul art brings to a superhuman. He asked if he could take on a superhuman that has an ultimate soul art. Ming He tells Yan that he knows that an ultimate soul art can create destructive power and surpass the limit of the body. It can even go as far as threatening people who are far more powerful than himself. Yan tells Ming He that he has perfect basics, but it is useless against an examinee that has an ultimate soul art. Ming He tells him thanks and also says that if a person's basics are strong enough, then the ultimate soul art will become even more destructive. Ming He then places his hand on the orb while getting memories of the last time he did this test. Yan thinks Ming He is planning to embarrass himself. Ji says that Ming He was showing his hidden power but now is showing them his visible power. She comes back and says that it's only a blue spirit power. Ji thought he was resting in the infirmary. We then see the orb change to a purple color and the teacher and both professors look with shock. Yan says that it's impossible since Ming He's information said that it was only a white dust rank. Young tells Yan that he was the one to tell Ming He that superpowers are changeable. Young tells Ming He that he is awesome while giving him a thumbs up. We then see Ming He changing the orb's color again, but then he releases his hand off the orb. The goddess told Ming He not to reveal his hidden strength, and there's no need to show the others his red sovereign talent. Ming He asked if he passed, which they replied with a yes. He gives his thanks to the teacher, and since he passed with a violet soul tier, he is now the highest examinee. Ji tells Ming He that he's outstanding. Yan tells him not to be so arrogant since there is still one last test, which is live combat. Ji asked Ming He why he didn't take this year's entrance exam since with his skills he would have passed with flying colors. She tells everyone to go to the resting room and wait for a while since the combat test will be a while. We switch over to the room with the teachers and the professors. Yan is complaining while she tells him that he could be an elite student from another institute and they are trying to mess with them. We then see Fan Kai and he said that he heard that they are holding special admissions exams today and asked if he could help with the live combat. Ji says that she remembers Fan since he was the 3rd place in Liang City and also tells Fan that it wouldn't be fair if he participated in the combat. She says that since it's the special admission, they will have to be more stricter. Also, Fan is ranked among the top 10 students in live combat out of all the 2nd years. Yan then grins and gets up with excitement and tells them that it's been decided. We switch over to the combat arena and we see Ming He sitting next to Young. Young says that a lot of people came to see the combat exam. Ming He thinks of Luo Qian, but then he thinks that she already has a boyfriend. Ji says that the combat selection is open to all students so they could come and watch the fights. Yan says that the matches will be open and fair so that no one could say that he is misusing his authority. She then says the order that people will be fighting in. Ming He is against Fan Kai, which we already expected since Fan Kai came in there asking, "Yo, can I join?" A couple of girls in the stands start to talk about Fan being in the top 10 in their grade. Fan enters the arena while some of the people start to cheer him on. Fan greets Ming He, but Ming He calls it a coincidence, but Fan starts to laugh. Fan says that he didn't have a choice in the matter and he won't go easy on him even though they were high school classmates. Ming He says that he wasn't going to ask him to go easy on him anyway. He thinks to himself that it's been a long time since he has seen Fan's ugly face. Fan thinks to himself that Ming He is unworthy of Luo Qian and all he did was fly around her at Lei Yang. The fight starts and we see Fan activating his power. He says to Ming He that he didn't know that he could control wind. He then starts to rush over to Ming He. We see Ming He clenching his fist and gets ready to throw a punch. Fan gets pushed back and looks at him. Ming He says that he is just getting done warming up and the playtime is over. He says that he hated him since high school and calls Fan a two-faced bastard. He starts to get angry and asks Ming He how is he a two-faced bastard. He then calls Ming He trash since he couldn't even pass the Superhuman Institute exam. Ming He remembers the time that Fan used to cause trouble for him when he was with Luo Qian, and then laughed behind his back. He said that Shui and Lu told him that he was teaming up with other students to ostracize him. Fan starts to laugh and tells Ming He that he isn't funny while also calling him a hobo for not having a job. He says that his training was probably just him moving bricks at a construction site and asked if he really thinks he could join the institute. He thinks Ming He was never in his right mind for thinking about all of that. Ming He asked why he even decided to show up. He replies back with him being requested by the institute to come. Ming He then makes fun of Fan. Ji then says that Fan decided to volunteer himself and he especially wanted to fight Ming He. Fan starts to get angry and says so what if he volunteered, and since he is the examiner, if he deems Ming He unworthy, then he is. He then mentions Luo Qian and says that he doesn't even deserve being at the institute. The guy keeps talking but isn't fighting us to show who is stronger. Like damn dude, like just throw your fucking hands up and start fighting. Ming He then tells Fan that whenever Luo and him hung out, Fan would always come and ruin the atmosphere. Even a couple days ago, he came in while Ming He and Luo were having coffee and ruined it. He says that if he really likes Luo Qian, then just pursue her with some decency. Ming He says that all of his success is up to him and asked him why he hates him so much. He then asked if he already confessed to her a long time ago, but maybe he got rejected, so in order for him to vent, he decided to bully him and show his superiority. Fan then gets super angry and says that Ming He is pissing him off and asked how could a person like Ming He enter the Superhuman Institute. He continues to badmouth him. Ming He asks if that was the real him and says that it's better than his previous two-faced self and it actually does make him feel better. Ming He then takes off his jacket while he says that the amount he wants to beat Fan's ass hasn't changed. Fan asks if Ming He doesn't understand and then says that he should get on his knees and beg him to let him pass. Real quick, it's crazy how from the get-go, I kinda already knew this dude was a bitch, but like now, he's even a bigger bitch. Like fuck this dude. Ming He then says that it's all good since he wanted to beat him a long time ago, but he was poor so he couldn't pay for his medical bills. He throws his jacket to Young and he says that it's finally getting started. Ming He starts to flex his guns while saying that this is a combat exam so he won't need to pay for his medical bills and also gives him a legitimate reason to beat him up. Fan says that Ming He is a joke and what could he possibly do when he is in the top 10 for his grade. The real question is, have you ever beat a Lord rank monster before though? Like, come on now, let's not size you up with the main character. Like, you're literally an ant compared to him. Right before he finished speaking, Ming He launches towards him and throws a punch to his body. Fan actually blocked the attack, but then gets sent flying backwards. Ming He then activates his second stage explosive speed and instantly gets to the flown back Fan. He then punches him in the face and Fan gets a tooth knocked out while he gets sent flying up into the air. Fan then activates his powers to flip himself back upwards, but he gets super pissed and then uses his spirit art to attack Ming He. He then uses his Gale Force Whip, which causes a lot of damage to the area. Fan says that Ming He can't even get close to him, so how could he possibly fight him? He then asks what is the use of his powerful fist, and then he calls himself invincible because of his power. Fan then uses his intermediate spirit art and attacks Ming He with a wind python. Ming He looks up at the spirit art and then fuses his hand with the mud or dirt. He throws up his fist while we see Fan smiling with a missing tooth. Fan then notices something where Ming He was. He gets sent flying back upwards and we see Ming He's sand pillar fist. Some of the people in the stands question Fan even being that strong since he's getting beaten up by just an examinee. Another person says that Ming He is strong and expects nothing less from a person who is dating Luo Qian. We see Fan standing while he looks all smacked up, telling Ming He that he forgot to tell him about his passive ability. He says that his passive is him getting stronger the more angrier he gets. He is kind of like Natsu from Fairy Tail. If anybody watched that anime, he always gets like angrier like the more something happens and then gets way stronger somehow. Fan tells Ming He that he officially made him enter his most strongest state. He then uses his soul art called the Rampant Tornado. A person in the stands see how only Violet Soul ranks could use soul arts, and another person calls the power frightening even though they are in the stands. G starts to get worried and tells Yan that this is just an admission exam, so how could they let a student use the ultimate soul art, and then questions on if it's prohibited or not. We switch back to Fan while he asks Ming He what use does his brute force have. He tells Ming He that it's over for him and he wants him to experience despair. Ming He looks at his soul art and thinks to himself that this is another person's soul art, but then he smiles and says that compared to him, it's kinda lacking. She says that there is tears within the Violet Soul rank and Fan's Gale Force combat is rather strong and then thinks Ming He is overestimating himself. Ji tells Yan that Ming He is going to be in danger. Young then tells Ming He to run. Hey, not gonna lie, Young is the type of person that I thought was gonna be a total asshole, but now he's actually showing the support, showing the love, and they're actually getting along, so I changed my mind about him. He's pretty dope. People in the stands think that Ming He is going to get swallowed up. Ji then yells at Teacher Yan. Ming He tells Fan that if he wishes to defeat someone, you would need to unleash your soul art without any restraints. We then get a beautiful look at Ming He's eyes, and he says that Fan is babbling on like that, which makes him look angry since he is powerless. Fan gets super mad about what Ming He just said, and then tells him that he wanted to leave Ming He with some dignity, but now he is going to send him crippled to the hospital. Fan's soul art is finally getting completed, but Ming He is ready for it and then throws a hurricane fist. The strike breaks through Fan's attack and he looks with shock and worry. We then see the power of Ming He's punch. We then see Fan knocked out at the wall, battered and bruised with a punch left on his chest. Everyone looks with surprise at what they just witnessed. Fan then falls on his knees and then falls to the floor. Fan questions on what that was, while Ming He comes over and tells him that it was his mystic fist and he used Fan's ability to become a medium for his own power. Fan questions how can a spirit art overcome his soul art. Ming He then gives him the don't fuck with me again look while he tells him that if he used his soul art, Fan would have been turned to dust, but since they are classmates, he wanted him to at least leave him with a face. Fan asks Ming He if he could use a soul art, but Young comes over and tosses back Ming He's jacket and tells him that he passed the talent test. Young tells Fan that Ming He passed with a violet soul tier and defeated him without using his soul art. Fan doesn't understand that Ming He has a violet soul rank because in the last admission he only had a white dust rank. The people with the stretcher come over and Ming He tells him that people improve and to enjoy his stay at the hospital since he is pretty injured. Ming He and Young start to walk away and Young tells Ming He that he didn't know that someone in the top 10 would be so weak. He also says that it wouldn't be so hard for them to gain momentum at Nandu. Ming He says that there is still many geniuses at the institute and they shouldn't all be as weak as Fan. Ming He goes over to the teachers and professors and Ji tells Yan that they just witnessed Ming He's ability and if they don't enroll him now it might cause criticism. Ming He asks Yan if he should be a proud member of the Superhuman Institute now. It's pretty funny, he's like rubbing salt into his wound saying like haha motherfucker, I passed, what are you gonna do about it now, you kinda have to enroll me, so like get with the program. The teacher then tells Ming He not to get ahead of himself since Nandu's Superhuman Institute doesn't lack combat power. Ming He then tells the teacher that they should be more strict with their admissions. He also said that if people saw students like Fan Kai, they will think that everyone got accepted through the backdoor method, and it will reflect poorly for the Nandu's Institute reputation. Ming He tells Yan that if he ever needs a strict examinee, he could ask him, and also if Yan has a student he doesn't want to accept, he will make sure that they don't get accepted. Yan then clenches his teeth and tells Ming He congrats for becoming an official student at the Nandu Superhuman Institute. He then tells Ming He not to be arrogant and be modest, open-minded, and to respect his instructors. Ming He then tells Yan that it just depends on who his instructor is, but Yan tells him not to take it that far. Ji asked if they were going to reimburse Fan for his medical fees, but Yan tells her that he cheated by using a soul art during combat, so why would they reimburse him? Fan then says that he has money while he gets taken away. Young says that he's seen stubborn people, but never seen anybody be stubborn over medical bills. All the remaining matches have ended successfully. Young says bye to Ming He since he is going to celebrate with his dad. We then see a girl coming to Ming He and calls him Junior. She tells Ming He that since he isn't familiar with the environment here, she could be his guide. Ming He asks her how could he get to the wrong courtyard. We then see Luo Qian looking at them to talk. The girl tells Ming He that she was actually going to head over to the courtyard so they could go together. Ming He was about to accept, but Luo Qian comes up to them and tells the girl that they are high school classmates, so she will be his guide, and thanks her for being enthusiastic. The girl starts to sweat a little bit and asks Ming He to add her on WeChat, but Luo tells her that his phone is being repaired. The girl then asks to get Ming He's phone number, but Luo tells her that his SIM card is broken, so he needs to get a new one. The girl then accepts it, and Ming He and Luo end up leaving. Ming He asks Luo how she knew that he needed a new phone. She tells Ming He that since the girl wanted to get to know him so badly, he must have passed the admission with flying colors. Ming He then starts to be humble and said that he didn't expect his opponent to be Fan Kai, and he said that Fan went easy on him. Luo turns around and asks Ming He if he was targeting him. Ming He replies and says that some people can appear to be despicable, but they actually just lack intelligence. Luo then congratulates Ming He for passing, and she said that they are classmates again. Ming He agrees as they walk off. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you all enjoyed this video.